DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. You don't know what that is. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into one framework, one philosophy, one approach, one mindset. We have laid this out systematically in a whole manual. We got a book on it and this daily masterclass that is all called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic, today we're going to talk the inverse of insanity. Now, you've all heard the definition of insanity, right? Is when you do the same thing and expect a different result. Well, today we're going to approach that from a different angle. I mean, that's what you're going to get here on the show. If I was giving you the same thing, why even do it? But before we get into that, my name's Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. I think I already said that. And before we get into that, let me tell you that I have a text message line where I want you to text me and let me know, once you have digested what we talk about here today, let me know the best thing, the best insight, the best idea, the best new thought that you got from today's masterclass. My number where you can text me is 305-384-6894. And when you text me there, not only will you be able to engage with me directly, you will also receive my daily motivation text, which I send out every single morning. So just text me there at 305-384-6894. Even if you don't have any specific feedback on this episode, you can just text and say hello. We'll confirm you once you're in. You'll be getting my daily motivation text every morning. So this topic, the inverse of insanity, means, again, doing different things and expecting the same result. Whereas insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. But sometimes this is what we do. We change things up, we shake things up, we change the plan, we change the formula, and then when we don't get the same result that we were getting before, we wonder what the problem is. We wonder what went wrong. We are thinking that something's wrong with maybe something's wrong with the formula, maybe something's wrong with us, maybe something's wrong with the outside world that is apparently has decided to stop cooperating with us. What the hell is the problem? Today we're going to talk about that and find out how people are, and this is the inverse of insanity. It doesn't mean it's smart. This is kind of like it's just a different way of being insane. It's just an inverse way of still being insane. Is to change things up but expect things to stay the same. So let's get into it. Point number one. Once you find a formula that works, don't change it. That's the first point. When you find a formula that works, don't change it. I heard this story of a football team coach. Well, it actually wasn't the coach. Story was told by the player about his football team coach when he used to play high school football. His coach would have his team run a play at the beginning of the game, and if that play was successful by the coach's estimation on offense, they gained enough yards on that play that it was successful enough for the coach would yell out from the sidelines, run the play again. He would just yell it out from the sidelines. So everybody on his team heard it. All his players heard it. Everybody on the other team, the other sideline, they heard it. So they knew exactly what play the team was going to run because they just ran it. And the coach just yelled out to his players to run the exact same play again. And this is what the player said in telling the story. He said, the coach would have us run the exact same play over and over and over again until the other team started stopping the play. If they didn't stop it, we would just keep running that same play until we got all the way to the end zone and scored a touchdown. And they would just keep running. The next time they got the ball, they would just keep running it over and over again. Just run the same play until they stop it. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. What the coach was doing, this was great strategy. Very simple, easy to remember strategy. Find something that works, and until it doesn't work, keep doing it. If your formula works, don't change the formula. Now here's the challenge, because some of you are listening and saying, okay, Dre, that sounds good. I will gladly keep using the same formula when a formula is working. The challenge for me, Dre, is I don't have a formula that works. So how do I find a formula that works? All right, let me tell you an easy way to do this as well. All right, everything's easy here. Identify people who have already achieved the results that you want and then model their example. Find people who have already done what you want to do, model what they're doing. That's it. That's how you find a formula that works. Now, I want to be clear when I use the word model. All right, model is not the same as copying. Don't copy what somebody else did. Model what they did. Why am I making this clear distinction between copying and modeling? It's because I don't want people to copy my stuff, or I don't want to copy anybody else's stuff. Not specifically so much about that, because if you're doing something that works, other people are going to see it and they're going to be inspired by it. You'll see the inspiration of your work in other people's stuff. This is definitely going to happen. The difference between copying and modeling, when you copy somebody's stuff, you're taking exactly what they're doing and then you're trying to plug it into you. That's not going to work, because their specific personality, the specifics about who they are and what they're talking about or what they're sharing, what they're doing, versus you, who you are and what you're sharing and what you're doing, is not going to translate directly. So you want to make sure you're not copying somebody's stuff, because it's not going to feel or sound or look like yours. And then it's not going to work. It's not going to connect. But if you model what somebody else does, you can take the framework of what they're doing, and then you can plug that framework into what you do. Just like right here on this show, every day I'm giving you a different framework that you can apply in your life and in your business, even though you're not me. Now, what you should not do is go and take what I say on this show and then try to start your own show and say the exact same thing. It's not going to sound right, because you're not me. But the frameworks of what I'm sharing with you, you should take them and apply them in your life. That's actually what you need to do. So that's the difference between copying and modeling. You can model what I'm saying and take the frameworks of it, the general ideas, and use them, apply them. That's modeling. Copying would be, again, if you just try to do the same thing that I did. You go try to write 29 books and have a show that comes out every day and make a bunch of videos on YouTube. It's not going to work. But you can model and use these things and apply them and absolutely get results. A solid framework will always help people get results if they apply what you're actually telling them. If your framework is not getting anyone results other than you, then it's not actually a framework. It's probably a very useful tactic on your end. But anyway, this point, find the formula that works, find the people who are already doing it, model their example. There is an art to modeling. Again, modeling other people's stuff while still being yourself and having your own style. And from what I see, many people need a lot of help with this when it comes to modeling. It's just stepping into your own zone, stepping into your own frame, staying as who you are while at the same time learning from what other people are doing. And if you stick with this, meaning trying enough different things and trying enough different ways of implementing what you have already learned, what you're modeling from someone who has already achieved success, you will figure it out. Now, I'm going to give it a caveat to this. Once you find, first, a couple of them. First of all, you got to find the person who already has the results that you want. Now, sometimes there may be one person who has exactly what you want, kind of straight up and down the line. 85% of what you want, they are already doing exactly that. You need to attach yourself to that person, and you need to get as much of the knowledge, soak up as much of the game from that person as you possibly can. But maybe there isn't someone who's doing exactly what you want. Maybe what you're trying to do is something brand new that nobody else is doing yet. So you might have to take pieces from certain people, 10% from this guy, 20% from this girl over here, 50% from her over there. You might have to piece together certain things in order to find what works for you. For example, when I was playing basketball, players would often ask me, Dre, who do you model your game after? And the answer was nobody. I didn't model my game after anybody. I took certain pieces. I might see Shaquille O'Neal do a move, and if I was ever in a position to play on the court the way Shaq was playing, I might use a move that I saw Shaq do. Then I might take something from Kobe Bryant. I might take a little move from Dwayne Wade, or some footwork from Allen Iverson, or a certain shot from Michael Jordan. I could take certain pieces from any type of player and implement it into my game until my game just became my game. My game wasn't like anybody. Now, people might see me and they might see me do one move and say, oh, that reminds me of this guy, that reminds me of that guy. But I was never trying to model my game after anyone. I just took bits and pieces until I found the game that worked for me. So, and that's one caveat, is that you might need to take bits and pieces from a bunch of different people. But if you're lucky enough to find someone who's already doing exactly what you want to do, model as much as you can from that individual, while, again, making sure you're not copying but actually modeling. You can take, for example, if there's someone who is doing some type of digital marketing online. I follow a guy named Russell Brunson, who has a show called Marketing Secrets, which I mentioned in my favorite podcast episodes. And I've been to his conference a couple times, met Russell, read his books, all of that stuff. I model many of the things that he does in digital marketing in my own materials. But if you consume any of my materials, you go to any of my sites, you go through any of my sales funnels, if you have received a copy of any of my books, I have modeled the way I design my sales funnels and my sales pages based off of how Russell does his sales funnels and his sales pages. But if you read the words on those pages, you notice those words are coming straight from me. All right, my word, I don't sound or look anything like Russell Brunson. We don't talk alike. He doesn't use any profanity. I do. He didn't play basketball. I do. He ain't black. I am. He's from, where is he from? Damn, Utah? I'm from Philadelphia. Okay, so we are from two completely different worlds. I model his stuff, but I do not copy his stuff. I don't sound anything like him, and if you read any of my pages, nothing on that page is going to make you think somebody other than Dre Baldwin wrote it. And if you read any of my books, you know it's me. And you're listening to me talk right now. So this is what I mean when I say modeling versus copying. You can have someone who knows their stuff that you learn from, but you should not sound or look anything like them just because you're modeling off of them. And the other thing about the art of modeling versus copying is you have to do your homework to canvas and find out who can actually help you get to where you want to get to, who has the frameworks in place, who can explain what they do. You might find somebody out there who's doing what you want to do, but they're terrible at explaining it. They can't articulate it. In other words, they have the knowledge in their head, but they clearly can't get it out of their head and into your head because they haven't been able to explain it. Does this person have a podcast where you can listen to them talk? You get a feel for how they communicate. Can you watch them on video? Get a feel for their energy. Hey, have they written anything? So you get a feel for, do they actually have the ability to take their knowledge and transfer it to other people? If they don't have that, then you might be looking at the wrong person, even though they might have everything that you claim or think that you need. So you got to find the right person. You have to canvas the environment to find that person who is the best model for you. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is the inverse of insanity, doing different things, expecting the same results. Number 2, remember that random inputs equal random results. When you shake things up in life, just for the sake of shaking them up, or you shook them up for a reason, you're going to get shaken up results. This is just the way that it works. You're not going to keep getting the same results when you shake things up. When I worked at Foot Locker in 2004, this is my first job out of college. I was an assistant manager at Foot Locker, and there was the Foot Locker location I was working at was at this place called Granite Run Mall, which is in Media, Pennsylvania. This is outside of the city, like southwest of Philadelphia. And there was an assistant manager there. I forget the guy's name. I think his name was Jay. Younger, he's maybe the same age as me. I was 22 at the time, so he was maybe 20, 21. And Jay was a Foot Locker veteran. He had been working there since he was like 15, 16 years old, and he had started as a part-time employee, hourly employee, worked himself up to an assistant manager, worked himself up to the same job that I had, and I had just started working there. And he told me that he knew a lot about how Foot Locker changed things around. He said every once in a while, the regional managers, they will just move a whole bunch of managers around. They'll take somebody like him and they'll move him to a location in downtown Philadelphia. They'll take somebody from the downtown store and move them to West Philly. Take somebody from West Philly, move them to North Philly. Take somebody from North Philly, move them down to Granite Run. They'll just move a bunch of people around. And Jay said they call it a shake-up. They just shake things up because they want to get some different results. Now, I didn't ask Jay any other questions about it, and I never asked the regional managers about that. But I remember it just because of the way that the phraseology that he used, that shake-up, and what I'm talking about right now. I'm going to assume that the regional managers at Foot Locker would do that and shake things up because clearly they weren't getting the kind of results that they wanted from their stores at that point. Because if they were getting the results that they wanted, there would be no need to shake things up. They would just keep doing things as they had already been doing them. So maybe they just weren't getting the kind of results from the stores that they wanted, and they moved people around to see if anybody could get a different result. And the interesting thing is, a couple years later, this was probably 2007, 2006, early 2007, I was in the Gallery Mall in Philadelphia, and I saw Jay. He didn't see me, but I saw him. He had been moved from the Granite Run store where he was an assistant manager. He'd been moved to the store in the Gallery, which is one of the most, at the time, at least, it was one of the most bustling Foot Lockers in all of Philadelphia, because the Gallery Mall is right in the center of the city. They get a ton of foot traffic, and a lot of sales happen in that store. And because he was a manager, I knew he was on commission. I knew how much commission they made. So I figured, I remember going up the escalator and seeing him standing outside the store looking out. I said, he's probably pretty happy. I mean, he's a Foot Locker lifer, and here he is working at one of the busiest stores in the city. So hopefully he's making a lot of money. So shout out to Jay. I wonder where he's at these days. But the point here, point number 2, while you can shake up things on the tactical level, like we talked about in episode 1922, you can shake things up, 1921 rather, 3-step framework of achievement. You can shake things up on the tactical level, but understand that only makes sense when the proper strategy is already in place. If you don't have a strategy in place for what you're doing, when you shake up your tactics, you're basically shaking up your entire world. So you understand that your mindset holds the strategies and the strategies hold the tactics. So when you shake up the tactics, as long as you have a strategy in place, you already know what new tactics need to be put in place because your strategy is directing you and letting you know, okay, you change that, or here's what you need. Point 1 in the strategy, point 2, point 3, point 4, you know exactly what needs to be in place and you know when you're ready. But if you don't have a strategy and you just keep shaking things up tactically, you're just going to keep getting random results. And maybe, and this is the worst thing that can happen to you, actually, paradoxically, is maybe one of those random tactics is going to work. If you're a smart, hardworking person, you will probably at some point stumble across a random tactic that is actually working for you. The problem with it is eventually it's going to stop working and you're not going to know what to do. And number two, because it worked, that may, and this often happens, I've seen it too many times, it will fool you into believing that just randomly coming up with tactics is actually a strategy when it's actually not. And again, there are so many examples of me seeing this happen with people. They randomly come up with tactics. The tactic works for a while, and then they think, okay, well, I came up with a random tactic that worked before. I'll do it again. Don't do this. Do not fool yourself into thinking that. Think of a person who's always in the gym working out. Now, this is an example of someone who could be doing it the right way. They may change up the exercises that they do every few months. They may change up the routines that they are following because they don't want to they might hit an exercise plateau, or they don't want to hit a plateau, or they just don't want to deal with the monotony of doing the exact same exercises every time. But understand, this person probably, if they go to the gym every day and they have some amount of fitness or muscle, or they're in great shape, whatever they're doing, the overall strategy of what they do in the gym does not change. So for example, if I go to the gym every day, which I do, or I exercise every day at least, I might know that I need to get a certain amount of cardio in every week. Now I could change the tactics up of the cardio. I might run, I might bike, I might swim, I might do some type of sporting activity. I might do some type of CrossFit, some type of cross training. I might do a workout on a yoga mat off my phone in the house, but I'm getting the cardio in. The strategy is I need to get a certain amount of cardio in all the time. Now the tactic, what type of cardio I do, that is interchangeable. I could change that at any time. So I may change the exercises up every few months, but the overall strategy isn't changing. But if I don't have a strategy and I'm changing my tactics all the time, I'm not going to get any results regardless of how much activity I put in. Does that make sense? Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is the inverse of insanity, doing different things yet expecting the same results. Number 3, consistent inputs equal consistent results. Magic formula. Now, can consistent inputs become monotonous? Yes. What's the solution to dealing with consistent inputs that just can become monotonous, doing the same thing over and over again? Even though you know it's producing results, it can get boring. It's kind of like earlier in this episode, I told you about the football coach. If they ran the play and the play got them 8 yards, the coach would say, well, run the play again. And if it keeps getting 8 yards, they're just going to keep running that play over and over again so the other team learns how to stop it. Can that be boring if you're a fan? Can that be boring? All right, this team's going to run the same play all game. If you're a player, could that be boring, man? We're just going to keep running the same play all the time. Sometimes people in life just need some type of variety. We need something different besides what we're normally doing. So can this become monotonous? The answer is absolutely yes, it can become monotonous. What's the solution to that? The solution is get used to it. The solution to the fact that things can become monotonous when you're doing the same stuff over and over again is get used to it. All right, monotony, you could call that one of the shit sandwiches of creating success in life. I talked about shit sandwiches in episode 1663. What flavor of shit sandwich do you decide to eat? No matter what you do in life, if it's going to be successful, if it's going to be neutral, if it's going to be a failure, you're going to have to eat a shit sandwich. All right? There is no perfect situation in life where there are no setbacks, no challenges, no rough days, no hard patches, no times where you don't feel like doing it. No matter what you do in life, successfully or you fail completely, you will have to eat a shit sandwich. All right, everybody understand that? Again, this is episode 1663, I explained this. So get used to it. The monotony of success or the monotony of failure, either way, you're going to have to eat a shit sandwich. Deal with the monotony of consistent inputs and results, or you can deal with the unpredictability of not knowing when and where your success is going to come from. Professionals get into the rhythm of creating that success, and that rhythm becomes part of who they are. All right, this is why you can depend on a professional, because their results do not vary too much over time. All right, that's what makes them a professional. And is there some monotony, a little bit of a shit sandwich that comes with being that professional? You might not know about it. They might not announce it. But I will tell you from firsthand experience, yes, there is monotony that comes with that, but that's part of the game. And how do you handle that part of the game? Well, we got an answer for that. I'm holding it up right now if you're watching on video. This is called the third day, the decision that separates the pros from the amateurs. And that decision is not necessarily about eating a shit sandwich, but that is part of it. And you can get that book for free if you haven't gotten it yet at thirddaybook.com. But mastering that rhythm, that is the third day in itself, of knowing that there's going to be some monotony in the game, but knowing that that monotony creates results. You just need to get used to it, not try to fight it. So let's recap today's class, which is the inverse of insanity, is when you do different things but expect the same results, which makes no sense, but a lot of people do it. Number one, find a formula that works and do not change it. Football team coach, run the same play over and over again until you get a result. The challenge for you might be that you don't have a formula that works, so the easy answer is go identify someone who does have a formula that works and is getting the results you want, doing similar things to what you want to do, and model their examples. Pick and choose from not random, but multiple people if you need to. Point number two, random inputs equal random results. When you shake things up, you get shaken up results. Now, if you want shaken up results, go ahead and shake things up. If you have a strategy in place so that you know which tactic goes where. When you swap tactics out, there should be a rhyme and a reason to it. Often people are, again, thinking they're being strategic, but they're really just being tactical and get fooled into thinking it's strategy when their tactics are working. Just because the tactic is working does not make it a strategy. Point number three, consistent inputs equal consistent results. Can this become monotonous? Yes, it can. What is the solution? Get used to it and get hungry. Build up your appetite for eating the shit sandwich. Deal with the monotony of consistent inputs and results, or deal with the unpredictability of not knowing when or where your success will come from. Professionals get into the rhythm of things and it becomes part of who they are. This is why you can depend on a professional, because the results do not vary over time. This is the rhythm that we call the third day. Again, you can get the third day at thirddaybook.com. The next step, if you have read the third day, or you've read multiple books of mine, hopefully you read more than one, because I got 29. So if you only read one, then go get some more at workonyourgame.com/books. But if you've read the books and you want to know what is the next step, what's the next level, as you've been listening to this masterclass, the next level is to join Work on Your Game University. If you want to be coached one-on-one, or you want to join my third day mastermind, where I am vetting every single person that's coming in there, and I'm bringing in a group of high-level individuals who are serious about taking their personal and professional games to their next level. If you are interested in that, you can jump on a Zoom call with me and we can talk about where you're at, where you want to go, and where this could possibly take you working directly with me. The website where you can sign up for that call. You just fill out a quick form. Is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. It's all one word, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Just click the button there that says join the mastermind. You'll fill out a quick form. We'll send you a link to schedule a Zoom call, and we will go from there. And the third day mastermind is a paid offering, by the way, just in case anybody didn't know. And all that said, send me a text. Tell me the best insight you got from today's masterclass. My number is 305-384-6894. Or you can just text me and ask me to send you a link to where you can schedule that call if you're interested in the university and the third day mastermind. That is at 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre all day.